And we're back for another casual conversation with the classic, and this time we got none other than DJ, producer, podcaster, content creator, internet personality, Emilio Sparks. And I really want to do this with you because I'm going to tell you why. We know each other, we've met each other once, we've talked. I do consider you a friend, but we never really had like a full-on conversation. And watching you from afar, like, I know you're doing stuff, but I don't know what you're doing. Dude, knowing you and knowing your story and kind of looking up on you and like following you over these years and stuff, like, you're also kind of inspiring to me because I'm like, you know what, he's doing the thing. He's doing the thing. So I want to thank you, man. And when I came up with this casual conversation idea, well, it was just a concept that I came up with because it's quarantine period and we're all in lockdown. I was like, well, put out some more content for people, some bonus shows, and maybe make the YouTube channel pop a bit. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to talk to Emilio. And I want to hear Emilio's story. And I want to know how this OG did what he did and is who he is. Because there's a little bit of a mystery behind you, even though you don't know.
I don't know. But I guess history beckons to those who want to tell their story, I guess. You know what I mean?
So what's going on? How's quarantine treating you?
At first, I kind of was having a hard time adjusting to it because I just, stopped working where I was working. And I was like, wait, what do I do now? I have all this free time. I'm not traveling the country no more. Like, what am I doing? My face is not buried in a laptop. I'm not editing. I'm not creating. I'm not even, podcasting, doing my own thing. And then I took a step back and I really went into isolation for like 5 days where I didn't say nothing. I did like a 5-day silence thing. I shut off my phone and my TV. I just grabbed some books that I wanted to read and I went inward to come back outward again. And then I realized, okay, I got to get back into the fold. I got to start creating content, much like you. I was like, I need to create content. I need to do something. I need to keep my brain sharp. There's only so much news you can watch before you start to go cuckoo cocoa puffs because you don't know what's fact or what's fiction in all of this, and you're home and you can't leave your house. Only time I go and leave my house is for necessities. And I'm like, okay, I gotta change, and I can't drink the Kool-Aid that the media is giving me. So what did I do? I shut off all the phones. I shut off all the laptops, Wi-Fi, the whole nine. For 5 days, all I did was read, and I got back to what I wanted to do, which was open my brain and create. And I got with the Good Brothers, Rocky Romero, Luke Gallows, Chad Too Bad, Karl Anderson, and they relaunched Talking Shop, and which
is a great show from back in the day, and it's still good. They're just the three personalities that you put them together, and it just clicks,
Oh, it's lightning it's lightning in a bottle, and they're so good and they're so talented, and it's just like I just sit back, hit record, and I'm like, whatever you guys want to do, let's just make magic. And that's what it is, man. And I appreciate them because they kind of put the battery back in my back to create and just like, hey, you can do this. You did it once.
Yeah.
You can do it again. So
let's do it. Totally relatable, everything you said, because I went through the same thing. I started off like, so you gotta understand, like, I went to California in February, right before all of this took off. People like talking about like coronavirus, or like if I was a little sick there for a couple of days, I'm like, oh, we got coronavirus. Like, it was a joke at that point. Like, I knew how serious it was in Italy because I got a friend from Italy and they're telling me about how it's going to go back there and the families on lockdown. So I knew how serious it was in Europe and stuff. It didn't hit the Western world yet. And so I come home from California, and that's like literally like 3 days after I come home from California, Tom Hanks catches it, the NBA shuts down, all this stuff.
Right.
And the thing is, when I went to Cali, everything was so bang, bang, bang. That's when the show officially got on Dash Radio. I got to do a show there. I was on the Swings and Misses show. Like, I'm doing all these things, and everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Thomas is reaching out for me for lunch. I'm like, oh, things are happening. The ball's rolling. And I come home and it's like, stop. Everything stopped. So then all these things, I got a little like, what do I do now? Like, I'm kind of bored, and like now I went from bang, bang, bang to really slow, and then I was like, I forget who the first person I did a thing with. I think it was Wrestlemania was so good. So I kind of kept it cool for Wrestlemania, and I hit up a buddy, and I'm like, hey, do you want to just quickly shoot about this Firefly Funhouse? I just feel like talking about it, and then we did it. And then I messaged my other buddy Nick Lamb from out on the East Coast too, from the New York.
I know. I salute to the Good Brother, man.
So I messaged Nick Lamb, and I'm like, hey, do you want to just shoot the shit for an hour about wrestling and we'll just like have a casual conversation about it? And then we did that, and I was like, oh, I should just keep doing this because I'm like, throughout the years of anything, I've compiled a network of people I talk to, but I don't really do anything with them. I don't really invite them on shows or interview them or anything. But like, we're cool. Like, we help each other out, whether they're in the industry, outside the industry, part of the industry in some unique way. Like, I made all these connections, but like, I've never really approached them to do anything. So I was like, we'll do some casual conversations. So similar to you, like I just started making content. I'm sitting here now with a Wrasslerap shirt, by the way, and wrestling classic jacket. Pajamas at the bottom because nobody can see. This is a casual conversation.
Hey, no, listen, I wanted to come outside because it was literally the most crappiest weather yesterday, and it was raining and snowing, and yeah, it's freezing out here today, but I got a couple of gimmicks. So
our summer is like starting. It's nice outside and sunny. Like I have my sun deck door open right now, along with the ring light, just because I'm going out there after we're done this. Well, try to get some exercise. So that's another thing that I've been struggling with. Have you been working out?
Oh, yeah, man. I actually changed. I started to do more pliability and mobility stuff. So big shout outs to Corey Gregory. He has a fitness app, and it's Corey G Fitness.
Yeah.
And I've been following some of his programs. So basically what I do is I'll jump rope, I'll lunge every day, and then I'll do whatever my body weighted workout is. I have like one dumbbell. So it's like, all right, I can do stuff with the one dumbbell. It's just a matter of getting creative. So basically Corey's app helps me do that. But what I've really been doing is Qigong and breath work, man, like Wim Hof, Troy Casey. I've been following these guys, Paul Chek, and I started to realize the power of breath and how healing breath could be because, specifically with the coronavirus, it's a respiratory infection and it affects the lungs. So I was like, oh, okay, well, our lungs are an organ, but they're also a muscle. The heart's a muscle. Like, our balls are muscles. So it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do? We got to strengthen the muscles. It's like doing bicep curls over and over again. So what do you do? In through the nose, out through the mouth with the Wim Hof, right? You do that for however many reps you can do, up to 30. Then you hold, you exhale, and you take a deep breath in, and you hold that for a minute or 90 seconds. You hold, then you exhale, and then you breathe in real quick again. You hold for 15 seconds. You do 3 or 4 rounds of that.
That's I was doing. That's sort of like a meditation in a way too, because I've heard a lot about breathing meditation as well. Mostly for people that are like really, because it's common mostly right now during this pandemic. A lot of people are very anxious, very stressed out, maybe getting a lot of depressed because they're inside all day. And I've even gone through and talking to a friend. She's like, "Oh, there's a couple of meditations that you probably should be doing right now, and then a couple more like kind of breathing meditations."
Yeah. Well, just think of it this way, right? If you suffer from anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Where it starts to get wonky is right here, right now.
Yeah.
If you've ever had an anxiety attack, it starts from like, you get like this nervousness in your belly, and then what happens is you start to breathe like really like, and you get nervous and you start to hyperventilate. But what happens is you're breathing from here. That's not good. That's not where your oxygen is coming from. So what you have to do is when you know that, have the tools to be like, okay, let me pull back. I know I'm having an anxiety attack. So now let me breathe from my diaphragm, and let me take these like, and it's supposed to regulate and bring you down. And then what happens is it releases the natural DMT in your body when you hold breath and you do that. So that's what I've been doing. So I'll do like a pranayama, which is a breath of fire, where it's like rapid breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose. And it's the same thing. And then I hold my breath, and it's what it's supposed to do. The science or the methodology behind it is it's supposed to help you open up your pineal gland.
Yeah.
Which is like the thing in your third eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then you hold that, squeeze everything, right? Like the best way I could describe it for like a guy like Troy Casey says, it's like squeezing your taint, like squeeze everything. Like you squeeze, hold your breath for like 45 to 50 seconds, and then exhale hard. And then when you exhale hard, inhale real quick, hold for another 15 to 20 seconds, then normalize your breathing once again. So what happens is like you go from this state of shock to the state of calm. But what you're doing is releasing all the CO2 out of your body, and you're bringing in all the oxygen. And what that doing is oxygenating your blood. It's oxygenating your cells. It's supposed to be the science behind it, or the hypothesis is it's supposed to be oxygenating your body so you can hold your breath longer, so oxygen can heal the tissues and so on and so forth.
That's
So that's what I've been doing, man. So study up, Win Hoff, Troy Casey.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And I think, especially during these times, something that I think a lot of people who might listen to this will probably take that into consideration because, like I said, I've had people message me telling me they feel anxious. I've had people telling me just going through some stuff.
Yeah.
And, that phrase of taking a deep breath comes from somewhere. And, it seems like it's one of those things that people just say, but there is some, science behind it, and there's a reason why that is a thing.
Look, the best way I can put it to you is breath is life, bro.
Yeah.
Breath is life. If you can breathe, you're alive. Right then and there, like, huge burden off your shoulders, right? You might not have a job right now. You might be suffering, but guess what? You got your lungs, so you're at one step ahead of the game because there's somebody that didn't get an opportunity to wake up today. So
100%.
Start breathing.
One of those things to be grateful
for. Breath is life, man.
I did find the home workout.
Breath is life. That's it.
Breath is life. I did find the home workout thing to be a little difficult, so I bought a bike, and I just been jumping on the bike and riding down to the beach and stuff because I was like, I can only do like the lunges and the push-ups and the sit-ups at home for so long until I get to the point where I'm just laying there and looking at my ceiling and then picking up my phone and like, like that's really bad.
Yeah. Scenery is everything, man. Like we need to, like what as much as this human species evolves and we become with a technological society and our brains start to develop at a rapid speed. No matter what foundations, we're still animalistic in certain things.
Yeah,
and we need nature and we need to be grounded and take your shoes off. Go into like the dirt, go into the grass, practice some Zen swings, fucking sun gaze at like
that's
dusk.
Literally what I think happened was because this is the time of the year, like May, June, July, August, like that's the Vancouver summer. Like that's when we get the sun and it's nice out and like it's blue skies outside right now. So I was inside working, I'm like, but it's so nice outside, and like the fact that I'm not even going out regularly, like I would to like go get a coffee, go get like groceries, like on a regular basis as I would. I'm like, well, at least I should go outside to work out at least. Like find the park or ride my bike to the beach. It's really nice outside. But let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about wrestling for a second because that's what I want to. That's what I want to know about. What was your first wrestling memory? What's the first thing you remember?
First wrestling memory was, and God rest her soul, it was my grandmother, and she would leg me. I guess she had a hot box or something. So my uncle Michael is only 12 years older than me, so it was always wrestling, and we would wrestle at on the rugs. We would wrestle on beds. We would just wrestle anywhere we could as kids, and he would always drop me with the DDT. It was always the DDT. So one of my, and I was young too. So the only thing that I would understand is DDT, Jake the Snake. I didn't put two and two together, good guy, bad guy, the whole nine. Yeah. And it was the first tape that I ever got was from my grandmother because my uncle Mike bootlegged and gave it to me was Slam '89. And it only had 3 matches on it. It had Superfly Jimmy Snuka versus $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Who was it?
SummerSlam '89.
So basically, it was SummerSlam '89, and it was so good to me. It was so eye opening.
Yeah.
It was Hogan and Beefcake versus Savage and Zeus. And and the other match was Superfly Jimmy Snuka and $1 Million DiBiase. And I'll never forget that because that was the first time I actually sat and watched for longer than whatever my uncle Mike was watching, and then we would DDT, and that was the thing. It was the vein, man. It was just they gave me the first taste, and after that, man, it was the sweetest thing that I ever could enjoy. And after that, it was just give me more, and then it was oh wow, WWE superstars, and WWE Challenge. Okay, let me watch that on Fox 5, which is a local television channel in New York. And I'm let's do it. Let's watch it. And that was it. And then it was WWF Magazine, and then it would be Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I didn't even learn about WCW until like 95, 96.
Yeah.
It was because of PWI. And the only reason why I bought PWI because Ric Flair was on the cover, and Ric Flair wrestled Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, Ric Flair's on. What is this? This ain't WWF magazine. And I bought that. And that's how I learned of WCW and New Japan and All Japan. And that's where I started to get my wrestling education. I was like, I'm in full throttle now, brother.
No, and I can relate to that because I remember, like, my WCW memories, first ones come from two things. Well, obviously, when I was 96-ish, like, my brother was 10 years old, so he was watching, so the whole NWO thing was on. But before that, as a kid, we had this game for our Super Nintendo. Like, we had Raw, we had Royal Rumble, and we had those things, but we had this, like, WCW Super Brawl game with, like, Rick Rude and Vader and Ric Flair guys on, and that was, like, one of my first exposure to WCW. So, my question for you then is, because I like to ask this question to people, when you figured out and realized what wrestling was and that was scripted and kayfabe kind of died for you, did you fall out of love with it at all, or was it weird with your friends or anything after that fact? Because I feel like we all went through a phase where everybody was watching it, and then when people started finding out, people started dropping like flies about being fans about it.
Yeah, it was something, wrestling from just the entertainment aspect as a kid, specifically, WWF at the time. It was bright, it was colorful, it was loud, it had these larger than life characters. So I was kind of like, okay, what is this world? And you're so young and you don't know what it is. The battle, all you know is that it's the battle of good and evil, right? And then when you get into like junior high school and high school, now it starts to change, and it's the Attitude Era, and it's the Monday Night Wars, and then you start to get into it, and you're reading, like, the dirt sheets, and you're trying to call lines with your friends, and you're, hey, like, what's this rumor? Is this really a rumor? Is this an urban legend? What's fact? What's fiction? And, one of my buddies started to pro wrestle, and that was it. I was like, wow, so wait a minute, you mean to tell me you can do this? Like, how do you get into this? Because I thought it was like this exclusive club. And to case in point, it kind of still is. But like, if you want to learn how to wrestle, you just go and you find it, and then you start to network your way. So like, two of my buddies started to wrestle. Joe So Delicious, man, R.I.P. to the God, and my buddy Chris Payne. They were wrestlers. And then I met my other buddy Chris Romano, and then Chris Dickinson, and they were indie guys. And they started. And I was just in after that. Like, that's when I got like my second education about pro wrestling was the independent circuit from guys like, at the time, Chris Hero, Chris Dickinson. I was going with my cousin Andrew and my buddy Michelangelo real early on to ROH, before it became like, the big boom at the Manhattan Center, going to like New Jersey.
Where you're from? Are you from New Jersey?
I'm from Staten Island.
You're from Staten Island.
Yeah, born and raised, man.
That East Coast area is like a hotbed for wrestling, though. Way more than over here in the Pacific Northwest, East Coast. Like, it's a hotbed for wrestling. There was a time where, like, I know that it actually is almost, I think, still true that the majority of my followers are from New York, like that area. Like, they're from the Five Boroughs. Like, that's where a majority of my followers are from. That's why I was so excited to come to WrestleMania that last year was actually, But like,
right.
It's a hotbed for wrestling. So I was like, as I asked you that question, I'm like, it probably would have been hard to fall in love with wrestling there, because if you're not watching the WWE, there's so much independent wrestling and other things to do in that area to be around.
Well, you also got to remember. We also got to remember too, like, like there was local independent stuff, but that big independent boom happened after like ECW closed. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, CZW was on the rise, Jersey All Pro was on the rise. Jersey Championship Wrestling was on the rise. You had all these smaller promotions now starting to come into prominence. And I think that was because the internet was starting to grow as well. It wasn't just a thing with AOL dial-up anymore. Like, it was becoming the thing. And so now you could, outside of just underground tape trading, you learned of guys like Nick Gage, because you can watch Nick Gage, because you would see Nick Gage wrestle in Jersey, and it was like, wow, all right, great. But then, Jersey All Pro was bringing in guys like Okada and, Chris Chetty and Chris Hero. Like, all these guys were coming up, and you're watching these guys, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Wow. So, you at one point, and probably still to this day, you could, man, you could have threw a rock and you could have had like some really dope wrestling promotions all across the East Coast.
No, I agree with you. Do you think that the dirt sheets, like, from your own opinion, right? No, actually, first and first, when did you first discover ECW? I'm kind of curious. I discovered it really late. I discovered ECW like in its end half, like 99, 2000, because I found it at 2 a.m. on a television network. You also got, I'm a bit younger than you, so like I was a kid and I wasn't really even allowed to watch WWF in like 98, 99. So everything was sneaking around and watching because I didn't realize it when I was a kid. I'm like, what's so bad about it? I watched it when I got old and I saw Godfather and I saw Sable and I caught all the innuendos I didn't catch back when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that's why my parents. Like, I didn't pick up on any of that. I just wanted to see the Undertaker. I just wanted to see Stone Cold. Like I just wanted to see that guys. I didn't know what was so bad about it and why I was only allowed to watch WCW. And I'm like, I don't get it. But then I discovered ECW.
No, my parents didn't give a shit though. They were cool with it. Yeah. They were cool with it. They were like, all right, there's gratuitous sex, there's dick jokes, there's fart jokes, whatever. Like, you're not causing trouble, you're not like whatever. Just watch it. If this is the thing that you like just do us a favor, get decent grades in school, and you can watch and order pay-per-views and buy books and magazines.
You might have been in high school at that point, though, right? Like I was still a kid.
I was, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm old, bro. I'm old. But, I'm about.
Oh, yo, this is older than me. I feel old sometimes. You got gray hairs there. Look at this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I learned about ECW freshman year of high school, and this is when I started to go to like keg parties or whatever, or you're in like houses in Staten Island, and you go to these keggers, and there'd be nothing on TV at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then it's like, oh man, MSG, Madison Square Garden Network. It was ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was Extreme TV. And me and my boys would sit in. We had no idea who these guys were. We had no idea. But then you're seeing Sandman get crucified, right? And you're seeing scaffold matches. And seeing New Jack was like seeing a religious experience at that point because you had no idea what was going on. You were like, who is this? This guy is just captivating. And then they're playing Natural Born Killers by Dr. Dre, and you're sitting there and you're listening to that. And this is like, I was always into hip hop as a kid. And man, that's when I started to go and buy tapes and stuff. And my homie from the West Coast that moved to the East Coast was putting me onto all this West Coast hip hop. That's when I started to listen to all the West stuff outside of Tupac.
Yeah.
And it just all clicked. It was like the right place, right time. Adolescence, puberty, like ECW, Francine, Dawn Marie, like boobies, blood, come on, wanna lay you, dancing at the top of the ECW arena doing a striptease in a towel. It's like, okay, great. And then ECW comes to Staten Island, and I'm there. And there's a massive brawl that comes out around the second or third match, and it's like Big Dick Dudley cracking dudes in the face in the crowd, and there's a melee, and they're throwing chairs all in the ring, and then me and my boy just go down on the ground, and we start crawling out of there because literally it was an all-out riot.
That's insane.
At the fun, yeah, man, it was insane.
Yeah, I discovered it later in its later days. But like I knew about it because when they made those appearances on Raw, and I grew up on WWF and WCW, right? So when they made those appearances on Raw, I'm like, I know who these guys are. So when I discovered it one day, like 2 a.m. on like TNT, I'm like, this is insane. So let's go back to that for a second. You mentioned something. You're a big hip hop head. You love music. That music's probably your first passion. You went into music. You started producing music, and I think that's because of that. It's kind of how we kind of reach out because you reached out for me for an image or something, I believe. For some
absolutely
creating.
I remember it like it was yesterday. So big shout outs to John Sparks.
Yeah, shout out to him. He's dope.
My tag team partner. We wanted to create an album, because John was mixing multi-platinum albums and I was, working at Sirius and I was making some stuff. I have a couple of placements as well. And we were like, you know what? We love professional wrestling, and let's flip wrestling beats and then get some of our favorite rappers and some of our friends who are just phenomenal. They're just monsters at what they do. And we're like, let's ask them if they want to do this. And, we knew that the correlation between hip hop and professional wrestling was always the thing. Like, you could do a case study between Rick Ross's gimmick and Undertaker's gimmick, and it's spot on. The parallels are right then and there. So we started just flipping theme songs, and we started asking Smoke DZA and, just all these other really dope rappers, Fred the Godson, R.I.P., Murder Mook, just really fun rappers. And a lot of them were also wrestling fans.
Yeah.
You know, and then then you open up the dialogue for a completely different conversation that you may have never have had before. So the first album's done. It was called Forever Madness. And it was like a 6-song EP. We flipped everything from Macho Man to like Stone Cold Steve Austin, so on and so forth. You can find those on like Spotify. And I was like, we need an image. We need like an iconic, dope image. And we just don't want to use Hogan. We don't want to do something like, you know, tongue in cheek that's just real, like that can grab somebody because it's like, oh, what's this, you know, image of a wrestler? So I remember you posted. It's a great photo of Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's wearing like the kimono robe, and in the back it just says Savage, right? And it's a black and white photo. It has to be probably
the first picture I ever posted. It's been the background. I got notifications, but it's literally been the background of my phone for every phone I've had for like years. Yeah.
Right. And I was like, damn, man, I gotta do this with this brother. So I gotta DM him and follow me into the house because my Wi-Fi is my phone's about to die.
That's all good.
Well,
this is a casual conversation. This happens on there. And you know what? I just want to say you segued into my question perfectly. I was going to say, how do you go from music back to wrestling? And you already went there. So, like
I did backyard wrestling when I was a kid.
No. I mean, you were. I mean, like back to wrestling, like because you were harsh in music, you were doing the radio stuff, you were producing music, you became really in that, but you still had that passion for wrestling. So how did you bring wrestling back into the music and bring everything back together? Was the question, and you already, I guess my segue about you reaching out to me, I already had up that question. But I'm intrigued by this backyard wrestling now too, though.
Oh yeah, man, we used to backyard wrestle. Me and a bunch of my friends, we had like little backyard, like we used to wrestle on my father's lawn. It was like his pristine lawn at the time, man.
Yeah.
My dad was like, he used to get so pissed off too because he really liked his lawn. And hold on, I'm sorry, brother. My dad used to get really like annoyed.
Yeah.
My dad used to get really annoyed. And I was like, Dad, we gotta wrestle. We used to make championship belts out of like cord, and we were like, yeah, Pop, this is what we do, man. You know, we're wrestlers. You know,
no, I can relate.
We have a loving snot out of each other, and we're doing ladder matches, and we're just hanging the belts on like the street lamps, and we're just like, whatever. We got to climb up there. How do we do that? We'll figure it out. But so back to the photo, it was like, I was like, yo, this kid has this amazing photo, and I'm like, bro, I gotta message this kid, man, and. It was just when your page like starting. I think it had, and to see where your page went and to see what you've done is absolutely phenomenal. So,
Thank you,
man.
Thank you.
And I was like, yo, this is such a great photo. And I was like, that's it. That's the photo. So I screen cap it. I send it to John, and I'm like, I'm gonna DM him. And he's like, yeah, ask him. You know, we'll give him credit all night. And I DM you, and you're like, nah, man, I don't need credit. I don't need nothing. Just enjoy it. Take it, do what you got.
It's not my content. I'm a big believer in that. I try to say it to people. I'm like, listen, because you know, other pages would come for me and ask me. I'm like, you guys understand? Like, we don't own any of this content. None of this really is original content. Somebody else took that picture. Do I love that picture? Did I find it and post it? Sure, but it's not really my picture, so don't really credit me. I'm not a credit hog like that. Like, if it's something that I did create myself, or I believe if someone made an edit, like if you took a picture and then you enhanced it somehow and you made an edit, or you made something funny, like you made a meme out of something, or you did something to it to make it different than what it originally was, then you really shouldn't ask for credit. I just believe that I'm very strongly about that, like, you know.
Right.
If I'm more than happy to help.
I thank you for that.
It's one of my favorite photos, and
that was like
cool story about that picture. That robe that he's wearing in that picture. Steve Cardillo of Cardillo Weight Belts actually has that actual robe. Like, Macho gave it to him. Him and Macho were friends because he made the weight belts for all the wrestlers. He made the weight belts for all of Hogan. Like, he's still good friends with Hogan. My connection to Hogan is through Steve Cardillo. That's why I have a relationship with Hogan. So he also had a relationship with Macho and all those Hercules and all those old school wrestlers, Legion of Doom. Like, he's good friends with all those people from back in the day. So Macho gave him that robe because before Macho started auctioning off all the stuff, as many people know, before Macho was passing away, he kind of just started like giving things away or auctioning them off, or like giving them away for charity auction. When I say auction, like for charity auction stuff, because he was really big on the philanthropy and stuff. So he was giving away his gear and stuff for charity auctions and then to his friends and stuff. And he gave Cardillo that robe, and I told Cardillo the story. I'm like, that was the first picture I ever posted. Like, I started this Instagram page because my ex-girlfriend didn't want me to have Instagram, and that was my phone background. I'm a big Macho Man fan, and I threw that picture up, and it's the very first picture, February 22nd, 2014, and yada yada yada. And he's like, oh, I have that robe, and he sent me a picture of it. And I'm like, how do I get that from you one day? How do I get on that world? I don't know what I have to do. How do I get that robe?
Right.
But yeah.
Oh man, that's such an iconic piece of tapestry, bro.
Yeah.
It's so good. It was so good. Yeah, man. Then you find some like really dope photos, and then you start to do the videos, and then you would like interject your personal life and how like this match or whatever you were going through at the time, like kind of pulled you out of whatever funk you were in or whatever your mood was. And I always thought that was so cool. And I was like, I like this guy, man. I'm gonna follow this page.
Yeah.
And I haven't stopped liking photos ever since, my man. So
let's talk about that, because that's true. Because it's true. Because wrestling, and I'm sure you can relate though, and that's why you fall. Because in a sense, for a lot of people, because there is that whole stigma sometimes, and I know there was that whole with the comedian that just made fun of wrestling and stuff, but I was like, that's what he does. He's an insult comedian, like that's what he does. I don't think he meant it like that. Yeah. I think if anything, I think he actually is a wrestling fan. But my point is, there is that stigma when he was making those jokes. There is that like, oh, you're like a grown adult, but you still like wrestling, and I'm like, like I get what it is, but like you're also like there's grown adults out there that still are like madly in love with superheroes and the Avengers and stuff, and they're not real either. Right. And it's pretty. It's just I love the art behind it, and it is a form of escapism. Like there were a lot of times where there'd be so much going on around me, or I'd be so stressed out, like whether it was girlfriend problems, high school, your friend problems, like whatever it was. For those 2 hours or 3 hours of watching Raw or Smack, like that was like nothing else mattered, and that's what wrestling was for me. And I think that's and a big proponent of the page was trying to bring wrestling fans together from all over the place. Because what I realized as I got older, because when I was younger, same thing. We did a little backyard wrestling with my friends. We'd all wrestle. Like I always joke around. I'm like, I knew I was never going to be a wrestler because the amount of bones I broke trying to do it for fun and just being stupid. I broke my arm, I broke my leg, my bone popped out of my wrist. I'm like, I'm not made to be a wrestler. But like, that was always my joke. But I'm like, but there was a point where when I got a bit older, they all kind of stopped watching, and everyone kind of started, I was always the wrestling guy, but my friends kind of stopped watching. I would walk down the hallway, they'd be like, yo, Dave Bautista, like that's who I was. And nice. But like, there came this lull, and you probably didn't feel it out there, but like I live in Vancouver, there's not that big of a wrestling heat spot here. Like it's not that hot, and I used to be on forums and all these things back in the day, talking to people, and I'm like, I just want to have a space where you can come together and you can talk about wrestling, and people from all over the place, and I can control that space. Like maybe I'll head the forum, I'll post pictures, and people start the conversation. We can have it. I went on Twitter. And I had Twitter, and I looked at the Twitter wrestling community, and I'm like, this place is a cesspool of negative people.
It's vile.
Who are just complaining about everything. And you specifically made this comparison of like, I'm pretty sure you're like Twitter's like New York, where everyone's just blunt, honest, and says what it is. Instagram's like California. Everyone's showing their best parts, and they're trying to be positive, faking it sometimes. And like you do that, I'm like, that's actually kind of true, because I went to Instagram, I'm like, well, everyone on here is just trying to be their best life and be positive. And so I'm like, I'll start an Instagram page, and there wasn't those many wrestling Instagram pages. So that's how that all started, man. But it's just because wrestling is a form of escapism for a lot of people. So and I think sometimes when people come to my page, they get that extra little bit of like, they could be having a crappy day at work, and then I'll post a certain picture or video, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember this. Like, that's the whole point.
Well, also take into consideration what you're creating as well. Like, you know what I mean? You're a content creator. The content in which you're creating may have already been created, whether it's a match, whether it's a photo or whatever. But what you're doing is now you're taking the idea of community and you're bringing it to the forefront. Where you're creating a community of like-minded individuals that may have felt a bit in their feels, and they may have been lonely, and wrestling was like the only thing that probably got them through some traumatic experiences in their life. I remember like 15 years ago, I went through a really bad breakup, but wrestling was there, man. And this was before the WWE Network. It was Classics on Demand. And me and my buddy Joe So Delicious, We would just eat really bad junk food and shitty TV dinners, and we would watch wrestling for hours. And he was trained by Johnny Rods, and he did the intro to the WrestleMania when it was in Phoenix. And he would just put me on to game, and you create this idea of community and this friendship and this commonality and this bond. And if you have community, you have everything. And if you look at it now, wrestling and Twitter and Instagram, like, friendships are born. Like, case in point, like the Wrestle Bays. Those girls are from all over the country, but they love each other. They support each other. They go fly to see each other. They attend wrestling events with each other, WWE and non-WWE wrestling events. So, like, if it wasn't for wrestling, I don't know if I would have some really good friends. I don't know if you would have some really good friends, and you create a community because of this bond of something that you like, that people kind of look at you like, it's fake, right? Yeah, it's fake, but reality TV is fake. What we're watching on TV right now on the news is fake. Yeah. It's just it's just this thing that we watch that we enjoy. So let me live.
And to your point,
community with that.
Yeah, and to your point, like I was saying, it's same for me. It's been one of those things that has been consistent, no matter what I've gone through, like 2 long-term relationships, breakups, whatever, life's changing. Wrestling was always there. And to that community point, you're right. Like looking at what we would not have had this conversation with each other, might not have even known each other if there wasn't that community with wrestling fans online and through the Wrestling Classic and whatnot. Right. And I've also discovered, which has helped, because I think people wouldn't notice these things, and they wouldn't have unless there were pages such as mine and the community online. Like, there are people who are wrestling fans that blow people's mind. Like, when people figured out The Weeknd followed me for a bit, and I still kind of have a relationship with The Weeknd, everyone's like, he's a wrestling fan, because there's nothing about him that shows that he's a wrestling fan. But now he's involved in it. And then people are finding all these other people are wrestling fans. This is going somewhere. That's why I'm leading into something. But they found out guys like Gabriel Iglesias was a wrestling fan. They figured out guys like, Smoke Dizza was a wrestling fan. Like, all these people that they probably wouldn't have assumed were wrestling fans. Your guys' album EP you guys put out to prove that as well. Like, people that you wouldn't expect, like rappers and these actors and all these people are actually wrestling fans too, but you didn't know until this community online started growing in a positive way, where it became about just nostalgia and rocking vintage tees and making content out of this wrestling stuff, and everybody expressing their love for wrestling. Because I think there was a phase where wrestling was really hot and cool, and I hate to say it, but then there was a point where it wasn't so cool, and in the last 5 to 10 years it got really, really cool again, to the point where now every year at WrestleMania there's a Walemania. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Hottest party of the year?
Best way to kick off WrestleMania weekend, if you ask me. But how did that come together? What was the conception of Walemania?
It was just a interactive experience between Wale and Court Bauer originally, and big shout outs to Court. And Wale just wanted to do something that was different. It wasn't during WrestleMania weekend when there's 1,000 matches going on and it's process overload. And you're like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Wale's like, you know what? Let's strip it down and let's have a party. Let's just celebrate life. Let's celebrate our friendships. Let's celebrate professional wrestling. Let's all come together where the wrestlers and the fans can come together in an intimate surrounding and tell stories and take pictures and, maybe share a couple of adult beverages, and then it went from recording of the MLW podcasts to when me and Kazim came on, and big shout outs to Kaz, and Wale's like, you guys run with this. Let's go every year. Let's try to top each other. And Court gave us the blessing to do that. And next thing you know, we're Walemania in Orlando. We're doing Walemania in New Orleans. And then it becomes this crescendo and this bigger than big experience where it was in New York. It's our background. It's our hometown. It's our backyard. And, we got to show up to blow up. And we were in Sony Hall. And, Justin, you were there, man.
I was.
It sold. It was packed, no lie, by 8 o'clock at night for us to start our show at 9.
Yeah.
And that was it. A full, when I tell you, bro, full occupancy, it was full occupancy. We had to start sneaking in people, through the hotel that's connected. That's how crazy it got. And it was trending worldwide. It was trending statewide. We had everybody pull up. We had that amazing moment when Booker T starts to toast and he shouts at everybody. And and he starts bigging up Kofi Mania, and he's like, it's not about me, you know, it's not about getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as a 2-time Hall of Famer. This week is about Kofi Kingston, and at that moment we knew, we didn't tell Book, but Kofi was coming out.
Yeah,
bringing out Kofi and the New Day, and then the place just erupts, and then, you know, Shad and JTG put Kofi on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And we're just having this huge moment. We're having this huge party, you know, and I'm like, man, oh man, let's rock and roll. And right then and there, we knew we just had an amazing party. We had you know, Hustle and Flow, Josiah Mount and Rap, and, you know, we had Ricochet.
You had Charlie Caruso rap.
Charlie Caruso rapping
Yeah,
by Tupac, and, you know,
Corey Graves is dropping bombs. Yeah, huh?
Corey Graves, man, Corey Graves, who became one of my close friends and one of my coworkers that I got to work with for a little while. He's coming out and dropping all these, like, you know, just doing what Corey Graves does, man. Push the needle, you know what I mean?
It's if I can step in,
just
like,
be him, just be amazing.
It's truly, I've been to 2 of them. I came to the one in New Orleans and I came to the one last year in New York, and
yeah,
it's not for fans like myself. It's a blast. It's a vibe. It's this area of, like, it's really like the first big party before WrestleMania weekend, because, like you said, most of the other events you go to, whether it's independent wrestling shows, Joey Janela's Spring Break, it still is wrestling, you know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing, but to have one thing that isn't wrestling, that's like, hey, we're in the city, and from a lot of people, New York and New Orleans specifically, I've been a lot of places in the world, but the first time I went to New Orleans was that WrestleMania weekend. The first time I've ever been to New York properly as an adult was that WrestleMania weekend. So to not just be fully wrestling for the whole time I'm there, to actually be able to go out and party while I'm in these cities, and to have an event like that that's still wrestling, like, you know, surrounded by the wrestling bubble and stuff, like, it's a blast. And for fans, I think it's a blast, but also to point out, from my perspective, from what I've seen and from being there, and also being back there to see the back end of things and stuff too, like, it's fun for the wrestlers too, because I think for them, a lot of the rest of the weekend might be really stressful for them. They got the big show on Sunday, and they got all these appearances and meet and greets they got to do. That the ones that roll in, because you guys usually do, like, say WrestleMania is on Sunday and stuff, like Walemania is usually the Thursday or the Wednesday before, like the kickoff.
Thursday night.
Thursday night, yeah. So you see a lot of them coming through, and you see them having a good time and being able to enjoy themselves too before they have to get all serious and get down to business, which I think it's just really cool for everybody, you know. And if people have never been to Walemania, like, I know of course this year, unfortunately,
you gotta come.
The pandemic did something, but be there next year if you're 19 or 21 and older, because the States, my bad, Canada's 19. Go out there and do the thing, man. It's a blast, man. You won't regret it. And it's like the who's there, like, whether it's wrestlers or if you're big in the wrestling community and you know people part of this wrestling community, like, you'll see them there too. Because I remember, like, rolling in and be like, oh, like, Frank's here, like, oh, Jamie's here. I'm like, oh, everybody's here. Like, what's going on? So it's a good time.
Everybody's there, and then you'll and then the best part about it is you'll have guys like, big shout outs to my boy Jonas. You know, he's close with Vinny Curry from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
You know, now we have Super Bowl champions rolling up and hanging out with us, and we're partying, and, you know, I love Vinny Curry's my guy, man. Big shout outs to Flea, and, you know, it's because of wrestling that, again, community. Building community, you know. Jonas is friends with Vinny. Vinny wanted to come to Walemania because he's friends with Wale, and it's like, let's come and hang out and create a community, and you create a bond, and that is what Walemania is about. And me and Kaz work our butts off for months to make sure that it is where it's supposed to be, and we time out everything. Everybody thinks, oh, these great organic moments, and for the most part, they're all organic. But you know, we have time cues. We have time cues. Like, all right, we got to do this. We want to do that because, you know, the podcast part of it, the Wrasslerap podcast hosted by me and Kaz, is a, you know, quick. It's 55 to like maybe 75 minutes. You know what I mean? And you're getting maybe 25 to 30 people in that time. So you got to move, because who's got an appearance, who's got an autograph signing. So it just can't be like, let's just hang out, la-di-da, and see where.
And it's not like that.
In and out, so everything has to be timed out. And you saw it. It was all the door of a who last time. And, you know, that's a testament to me and Kaz, man, just making sure that all right, the show's got to flow. And then Wale comes on, and this is what I love about Wale.
Yeah.
Big star. He's such a big star that he doesn't make it about him.
No.
It's never about him. You know what I mean? It's about making sure that the people that pay for the tickets have the experience to see the professional wrestlers that they want.
Yeah.
Wale will come out, and he's a total class act. I love him, man. Wale is great. And he'll come out real quick, a couple things, but then he'll go into the back and, you know, get ready to perform, and he will give you a 2-hour concert.
Yeah,
and
like he just keeps going.
That's coming out with that concert as well. And you get everybody, West Side Gun, Smoke Dizza, you know, Chris from the Young Bucks. I mean, you're getting everybody, and you're getting like the best, like you're getting G4 boys, you're getting whoever, man. And just wait till LA. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm so excited. That's so close to home. Cali's like my second home, so I'm gonna have a blast.
Right.
But no, man, yeah, check out Walemania.
And it's just gonna be.
And I do want to say, to your point, like once again from outside perspective, you're right, because if anyone that thinks it's like, oh, just they're throwing a party, it's easy to have people come, like it's not, dude. Like I walked in to New York last year, I saw Emilio for like 2 minutes. He was so busy, just like trying to figure out who's actually allowed in and out. And then I go downstairs, and they're doing the interviews. Like Booker T guys are walking in. We're supposed to get content and stuff. And the first time I met Kaz probably too, and like we like just similar to you, like I've talked to him on and off for years now. Like we through the community we've become friends, but like we've never really like talk properly like we did last year at Walemania, which I don't remember, and New Orleans went that well because I was out there, I was gone. But this one I was fully aware and knew what was going on, but he was so busy and he was running back and forth, and it's like I saw the hustle. So yeah, it's not an easy event to put on. So the fact that it ends up the way it is, and it's a blast, like everyone should check it out and go support next year in LA. It's gonna be insane. I'm looking forward to it. Wrasslerap, the podcast.
I'm just thinking about it now. Yes, sir.
Wow, one of the OG wrestling podcasts. One of the OG wrestling fan-made podcasts, one of the ones that have been running consistently in my mind for years now. Obviously, you have your short breaks and stuff, but consistently, to say the least. How did it start? What was the original concept? And to go through the generational, because it's changed. There's been changes.
Well, Wrasslerap was first a hashtag that was created by Kazim and of ours named Ernest. And that was the hashtag, you know, and it became a website. And then, you know, things change, and, you know, people have responsibilities and other things to do. And, you know, it kind of, you know, was silent for a little while, like naturally, like everything does, you know. And then Kaz is like, yo, I want to resurrect it. Let's do a podcast, Sparks. And I was like, let's do it. Yeah. And it started in my parents' basement, bro. It was just a little rinky-dink recorder and maybe like $20 microphones. And our first was Chris Hero, and he comes over the crib, and we're just doing this interview, and it took off. And then, you know, Samoa Joe wants to come on, and then like, you know, and then Enzo and Kaz want to come on, and, you know, it's because of the hash, because of the movement, and, you know, guys like Wale and, you know, Smoke Dizza bigging up, and, you know, Juice from Flatbush Zombies, and just an incredible, I don't even like to say fan base. I call them the Wrasslerap elite. Like they're street champs. You know, if it wasn't for the audience, we wouldn't be anywhere. And the audience was so like, this is like barbershop talk about stuff that we like. And then we wanted to analyze the human and social condition for it. And then Kaz has to go for a little while because he got his writing gig up in New York. Yeah. You know, and then I was like, all right, well, let me change the show a little bit. Let me start doing talking about the interconnection of this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff, and the human and social condition within the world of professional wrestling. Let me talk about the bedfellows of the music industry and hip hop, and, you know, make it a little bit more about that, because, you know, the show just used to be wild and crazy, and then it was like, all right, well, let's do it this way. And then that took off even more, and then that got the attention of certain people up in New York again. I get my gig up there, and, you know, and then I learn all this stuff, and I do all that, and, you know, that you have Luke Harper, and you have Big E, and you have Isaiah Swerve Scott, and you have TJP, and you have Chris Dickinson, and you have Rocky Romero coming on, and Marty Skrull, and, you know, like Mega Ran, and Open Mike Eagle, and Speak, and Smoke Dizza, West Side Gun, and then I'm grabbing your tastemakers like yourself and a Queen of the Ring and Alex Littlefoot and Lauren Moran and Kalia Page and, just a great group of individuals, again, like-minded individuals who love pro wrestling, who really talk about it in a negative connotation, unless it's something that they don't like on the product, but they will still see something positive within the product.
When I say negative, I mean negative kind of just means like it's okay to have an opinion and dislike things that are going on and like things, dislike things, have opinions. But when I say negative, it's the people that don't know how to agree to disagree and want to say that something's so bad that they're right and everybody else is wrong and we're going to trash everything. Or those, I'm never going to watch WWE. And I still get those comments in my thing like, WWE's going to die in a couple of years. I'm like, no, it's not, man. It's Disney. It ain't dying. Like, it's, but that's negative. That's what you mean by negative. Because, like, don't get me wrong, we can be negative too. Like, we have opinions that aren't positive, but they're just opinions and we're going to love the business regardless of the fact, We're always going to love it and appreciate it. We just don't like some things. Yeah. That's a different kind of negative than the negative that's out there.
And that was it. And then, it went to number 1 in Apple Music. And it went as high as number 25 in sports. And it went into like the top 50 in the overall podcast. I'm like bugging out that Wrasslerap, this little rinky-dink thing that we created just out of love, was right underneath like NPR podcasts. The overall charts and stuff like that, And it was because of having conversations and building with other podcasts, because a lot of podcasts don't like to network with other podcasts.
Yeah.
Understand that. And we were like, nah, man, like big up to A Show, big up to Cheap Heat with Rosenberg and Stat Guy Greg, 2 of Wrasslerap's biggest supporters, the Black Announce Table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Matt Mania, all these other great podcasts that big us up, and we big them up because, again, community. And I can't stress that enough, man. If that's the overall theme of this episode, it's community. And it was because of everybody that Wrasslerap grew to what it was and became this thing. And now it's like a verb. Everybody says it's Wrasslerap.
Yeah.
You think of a rapper making a reference in a song and it's a pro wrestling thing. It's like, nah, he's a Wrasslerap.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wrestler. So it's cool. My goal now is to get Wrasslerap and Webster's to get it even bigger than what it is.
The new SmackDown. Just make it official. Yeah. So was it last year around this time that you showed up on the Money in the Bank watch along? Was it Money in the Bank?
Yeah, this time around last year, I showed up. I did the watch along. Big shout out.
I was like, how did that happen? All I know is I was sitting there, and I'm a big proponent of watching the watch along while watching the show, just to be like supportive, even if it's like on low volume, whatever. Great. And then I'm like, wait a minute, is that Emilio? That he was sitting on the couch hanging out? What was that? How did that all come about? As much as you can, Chicks. I know there's probably things you can't talk about. There's a lot that I can't can't divulge, but it just came about because somebody behind the scenes that is an amazing person. Hey, I love your podcast, and you got to come hang out. Yeah.
I was like, what do I do? He's like, just talk about wrestling. That's it. Just don't curse, and you're good. You already know everybody back here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're friends with Cesaro, friends with Luke Harper, like, Big E, like just have fun, make new friends.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and hung out with E and the Bump and Rick Boogs, and it was just a nice revolving door of a who's who, man. Not Sam. I got to chill with Sam Roberts again because I worked with Sam up at Sirius XM, and it was just great. It was super fun. It was a great time, and I guess that led to me working there for a little while. So,
and you worked there.
I'm blessed, bro.
And when you did work there, we're not going to dive too much into it, but you got to work on the Corey Graves podcast, which is After the Bell, and then from there, now you're. Was there any other ones? Or were you on the New Day one too? You started that one as well, right? The New Day podcast.
Yeah, I launched both of those. I co-developed both of them, and I wrote them, edited them, the whole nine.
I just want to say
you're a producer.
For sure. I do want to say
digital creator. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I do want to say thank you though, because both those podcasts are really good, and they didn't exist once upon a time, and now they do. Especially the New Day one, because that one is just like if you want to listen to something and you're just like really like, but you don't want to like I don't want to say like that. Like you want to listen to something, but you don't want to think too much. And you just want to have like a good time. You listen to that New Day podcast, and it literally just sounds like three friends shooting and having a good time, and you're just sitting kind of there like the fourth person just listening, you know, like, oh, this is hilarious. So thank you for that. But now we're doing the talking shop with Gallows and Anderson, and that's every week now, right?
And Rocky Romero,
and Rocky Romero, good old what's his luchador character?
Yes,
I feel luchador
that's not him. That's Chico.
Oh, I mean Chico. That's not him. My bad.
Chico.
Yeah, my bad. Where can people find that?
Bro, Rocky wrestled Chico, bro. Like, what
I know, my bad. My bad. I know. Was it in Rio de Janeiro?
You can find that. Yeah, it was in Rio. It was in Rio. It was right around the time when Pat Patterson won the Continental Championship.
That makes sense. It might have been on the same card,
Rocky's
right?
An immortal. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that, but Rocky Romero is an immortal. He's like Highlander. He doesn't age, so like, he's been wrestling forever, just under different names.
People don't know.
But yeah, no, you can find Talking Shop. You can find that on Spotify and Stitcher and Apple Podcasts and Google Play. Anywhere you want to watch or listen to podcasts.
Have you guys
type in Talk and Shop?
Yeah. Well, I know it's those places, but have you guys ever considered? Okay, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna say, have you guys considered putting out like a video format of it? Because I've seen you guys recording it, and you have like the Zoom look. Have you guys ever thought about putting it out in video?
Oh, we record them, yes. So what we do is we have a Patreon, and if you want to see video content, you subscribe to the Patreon.
See, I'm letting you plug stuff without even knowing that you were gonna plug it, but that worked out. That was great.
You're so good. You're so good. I get it. Yeah.
This is the casual conversation, so I can break down if I'm doing a segue. This is all free for all. There's no professionalism here, realistically.
So if you want extra content, you want to see the videos, you want to crack a beer and hang out and boozing with the boys, go to patreon.com/talkandshop, and whatever tier you tickles your pickle, hey man, go there and watch. And we have a Talk and Shop podcast, we have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, so we have it all, baby.
Is there anything else you're up to these days?
Way you want as well.
Is there anything else you're up to today? We got Wrasslerap, we got the Talk and Shop podcast. Is there anything else you're up to today? Like anything else that people should be looking out for?
You can download Wrasslerap, WRASSLERAP. That's on thing as well. You could follow me at Emilio Sparks. I'm on the Instagram and the Twitter, and I still have a Snapchat for some reason. I don't know why.
I have one too. I don't know.
That's EMILIOSPARKS. Right? I don't know. I don't really go on there. I'll just take a picture of like the sky or something, just to be like, hey, I'm still here. Like, you know what I mean? Or like I'll use like the old man filter because I want to see what I'm gonna look like, and I don't know. I just I'm gonna age like fine wine apparently. But that's about it, man. Sparks Foundation stuff. Say Less with Kaz. I produced that as well.
Oh sweet.
I don't know. Just keep on creating, keep on going. Walemania. Wrasslerap is going into. We have merch, so if you want to help us crowdfund, I am developing a video series that it took me 1.5 years to develop, and we're going to do that. But we need help financially because it's you got to pay. You want to pay your friends to do things. You just don't want to have your friends do things because they're your friends. You feel me?
Yeah. So
you want to pay them for their time and this is how freelancers and digital creators work and influencers. So what you want to do is you want to pay your friends. So we're having once the world opens back up again and everybody starts to make a decent thing again, we're going to launch some snapbacks, and those snapbacks are going to fund this video project. So, if you want to see us do some crazy and wacky fun stuff, follow the Twitter and the Instagram. Hit me up. Follow Justin. He'll keep you abreast to a whole bunch of stuff as well. So
I try. That's it. Yeah. I appreciate you doing this with me. This is fun. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, man. I really want to talk to you. I just want to, actually pick your brain. But I know we've met. We talked once in your live stream, but it wasn't, I wanted to get to know Emilio, man. Like, I know Emilio, but I don't know Emilio. I like Emilio. Let's got to figure this out. Let's get, let's have a cup of coffee together and have a casual conversation.
I would love it, man. Let's do it. And then when we're actually in the same time zone and in the same state, let's go break some bread and have that real conversation that we can have when the camera's not in front of us.
Oh no, 100%. There's there's some things I do. We should have a conversation about just the two of us because I'm heading somewhere, but sometimes, it's always good to pick people's brains and get some advice when people have done something. Like I said at the beginning, like you've inspired me a bit. I've seen you do big things, and every time I see people in the community do big things, I'm always like, man, like that's super cool, man. Like I want to pick the brain. I want to see how that happened because at the end of the day, we all got to lift each other. I hate it when people are just weird with people because they're doing things like that's not cool, man. Like be happy for people and just the more, like I said, the big reason I did Instagram because I went on Twitter and it seemed negative. I'm a big positive guy, man. I'm about positivity and just trying to keep things positive mental attitude.
Man, yours is great. I like you all. I like what you do too because you'll big up also indie cats that really don't have a big platform or a bigger name. Case in point, always big up two of my close friends, the Regal Twins.
Yeah,
and they are just probably the greatest unsigned hype out there right now.
You know what? Thank you.
Guys are big, they're jacked, but then they all high fly.
Thank you for reminding me about them because I'm actually probably going to reach out to them about doing one of these too because that was a big thing about this too. I'm like, I want to talk to my friends and people I know, but I'm like, I also want to talk to those independent wrestlers that might not get the interview because they haven't reached that level where like the big names are reaching out to them. But I'm like, I'll reach out to them and I'll give them that exposure and content if I can have those conversations because everybody has a story. And the one thing that I learned with my page is there's a lot of people who either like still follow and they've gone on to do big things, but like that means there's a lot of people that follow my page that are aspiring to be wrestlers and want to break and are probably starting to train. And I've always been a big story guy, even when it comes to wrestling. I grew up reading books myself. I love music for the fact that like music's probably my second passion, but I love music because I love good stories. And when old school hip hop and country and old rock told stories, that's what I loved about the music. Like I'm a story guy, and I like hearing and reading other people's stories because I feel like when you hear and read other people's stories, it motivates you to get your ass up and do something. So the more stories that people can share with me over these casual conversations about what they've done or the behind the scenes struggles and making like saying like we did this cool thing, but you guys also know like we had to go through this, that, or it's real hard to do, then it makes people more aware that everybody has a tough time doing things, but it's just they keep on trucking and they do it and then things happen. Because most stories end up like that. Everyone's got their struggles and their ups and their downs, and everyone can do cool stuff, mostly in today's society,
But it's amazing what the journey brings you and where you open up and you have this transparency. And, once you casual conversation, and that's what it is. It's transparent, open, and honest talk. And it's amazing what you learn just by listening to somebody, actively listening, not just like, messing around on your phone or whatever. And man, you're doing good work, dude. So just keep it up, man. I'm always like forever.
To cap it off, though,
that you send me and everything else like that.
Oh no, for sure. And anytime you guys need anything, like I got you guys, man. You guys have always been so nice, and like ever since that Macho Man picture, you guys have always been so cool to me. Like even John always hits me up. He's like, dude, if you need a beat for anything, you let me know. Like you guys have always been cool. Like Walemania, you guys put me on the list to come through. Like you guys have always been super cool with me. And I'm one of those people like I don't forget anything. I have a really good memory, which is a burden plus like something to be grateful for all at the same time. But like I don't forget anything, and
of course,
and it's and I'm a very
it's a good balance.
Good balance. But last but not least, final question. Last thing I want to ask you before we get off here, because after everything we just talked about, okay, if there is somebody out there that is aspiring to do something, whether it's producing podcasts, hosting events, being a radio host, getting involved with wrestling in a non-wrestling form where you're like not being a wrestler, like what advice would you give somebody out there that is, because we live in a world today where being a content creator is an actual like legitimate career choice if you really want. Like it's something you actually can do now where I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago it was a lot harder to do it, but it wasn't taken as practical as it is now. Like now it's like, oh, you want to be a content creator? Like, it's actually possible if you put in the work. But what advice would you give to those people out there that want to try to do something unique, special, and actually show their talent and skills of creativeness?
The two things. The first thing, always learn your craft and become a master at your craft. So if you have to be a video editor, learn how to do your video editing. If you need to be a writer, practice being a writer. And then the second thing I would say is have heart and tone, because people know when you're faking the funk.
Yeah.
There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. So have heart and tone in everything that you do. Be honest, be organic, be genuine, be respectful, be humble, know what you're talking about, and do it in a way where your tongue is not forked. You know what I mean? So come from the heart and good things will happen. And that's it. It's the best way I can put it. Heart and tone and do the work.
Sweet. No, I appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much for doing this. It was a blast. And I'm sure
my pleasure,
we'll keep on talking. Just maybe I'll have you on again. Maybe I'll have you on again when I want to break down something. Like if something crazy happens, like the Money in the Bank's wild or something, maybe we can shoot about that. But definitely when we're in person, we'll do something for sure. On and off the air, whatever works.
Easy, all day, bro. We got it.
And it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate you. Cheers. Even though my cup's empty now.
Thank you very much. Justin, Luke, brother. You're the best, brother.
You're the best. Thank you, Emilio. It was a pleasure. And for everybody else, you guys know where to check this out. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the places. And we'll see you all next time. Dig it!
It's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.